Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Connect. Of course, our family life and relationship show brought to you by joining us. Of course, I would always bring you very scintillating and very intelligent people to have these relationship and family life conversations. And today is no different. I am flanked with three amazing, his divorce story and the saga as to the fact that he willed everything that he possesses to his mother. More like buys a really large chunk of opinion with the younger generation, and this is why we are here today. What side are you on? Good news, good news. So in the course of the program today, we are going to open up the phone lines and we'll give you opportunity to make your contribution. But I am in a hurry to introduce to you the great people that I'm here with to have this particular conversation. Welcome to Connect. As I have the very, very delectable Daniel Sampson. Of course, he is a multi-dimensional human being. Life coach, raw states, processes them to gold and, makes them available for the world. And then he has several years of doing this particular trade all over the country. It's an honor to have this particular life coach. I don't know how to describe delectable more than delectable. But then we have Mrs. Beatrice Anietia John joining us this evening for this conversation. The very key factor for her being here is the fact that she's a wife. Because this conversation, we are balancing it. We have herself, is an educationist, and of course has plenty other, things to her. Let's celebrate and make welcome our delectable Mrs.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So, joining us virtually this evening is Dr. Chibuzo Samuelson. The show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Welcome on the show. It's great to have you in the Spectrum family. So we'll just run through this conversation so that we are having this particular conversation today. Okay. This is the slide that we have. The story there reads, footballer Akraf Hakimi, as all his property is registered under his mother's name. Hakimi received £1 million from PSG monthly, but 80% of this is deposited in his mother, Mrs. Fatima's account. He has no property, has no cars, has no the bedrock of where this conversation is coming from, and it has been hot for the past 1 week. People have just been bamboozling, whatever, even between husbands and wives, because these kinds of things are like hydra-headed dragons. You don't see where it's heading until it has taken a lot of things down. But I'm going to ask you from a life coach perspective, single person. I know now he's not like single, he's single up on the story. What were your, first base thoughts about this?
Okay, the first thing I saw or I perceived when this whole story broke out, on the internet, I realized that there was somebody that was not honest. He wanted to do, and then the man as well had other things he wanted to gain. I think both of them came in with different mindset about the whole marriage thing. It was more of a transactional thing, wanted to get married, were not true to themselves. That's it. They were not true to themselves. So that's what I got from it.
Okay, so you're seeing dishonesty on the part of the people that entered into. One would think, and we have a lot of reactions that we are going to take, and people are asking, were your eyes closed when you married a 35-year-old woman? Now, why I'm giving that perspective is the fact that at 35, she is a renowned actress.
Yes.
And has made her money. So we cannot even reboot the fact that she probably had made some contribution into the success of this man Hakimi that we know today. So it's not just like the popular painted picture of gold digger lady coming to dig for gold where she did not plant. So it might not be a matter of she was in there for his money, but then, as a woman, how does this make you feel, this conversation overall? I know like a lot of married women must have had a lot of this is what is happening.
I want to believe the two of them were not honest from the onset.
Okay.
I want to believe they took life one step at a time, and at some point they realized that one person is going to default. So that's when because she has much more than in fact the media has told us. She's rich, she's classy and all of that. So my point is, why would she ask for money?
Trade on for half of what you've got, and that's why some people even marry. They make a trade out of these.
Yes.
But like she's far richer than, as in she and I will be broken. Like you rightly said, maybe she contributed. So and Hakimi at some point did not live up to expectation. She now had to come up with that. But aside the trend now, I see that the money she just felt like let her get the money, let her
And Dr. Samson is a husband, so I'm going to first of all come from the husband perspective before we really begin to break this conversation down into different aspects. What were your thoughts overall when you came on this story?
First of all, I was shocked because I didn't know who Accra. I discovered that he's 24 at the moment. He's been playing for a while, so he probably started playing when he was much younger, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure his mother was just someone he could trust. And they are not Africans, and so the expectations that we have as Nigerians or Africans on how a marriage should be contracted on the basis of, especially when you talk about assets and the rest, may not be necessarily how it works in those places where they should judge him or them. And I mean, that the marriage lasted barely 2 years, so they're about 2-3 years. Yeah, they got married in 2020 and divorced. Explain into the story. So I think that probably I agree with the life coach on set that there was definitely some trust issues there for him not to have made his wife his next of kin immediately after marriage, and then he even met his wife. So those are my initial thoughts at the time I heard it.
Okay, he married someone that his name might already have been there before he even married his wife. But why didn't you change it the moment you had married someone? The question of trust is there. So let's talk about getting married to someone when you don't trust.
Relationship is quite dating is quite different from marriage.
Oh, absolutely.
The excitement of dating is and them. You love they trusted themselves. I mean, life happens. Maybe along the line they found out that somebody is trying to drift and start feeling like the husband is not to be trusted and all of that. It might not be the guy's fault, might not be Hakimi's fault, might be that the woman just started feeling insecure like any other woman should. The mother is having so much power in her marriage, and I think let me just stand up and do something before I totally lose out.
Before I totally lose out.
Exactly.
Okay, so just give us a take on the whole trust balance.
Okay, the first thing I like to point out is this: the fact that the Ivorian player had same issues with his wife, and I think she got over 50% of his wealth, and it wasn't the person. This is what happens. Do you understand? So I'm sure, or I want to guess that Hakimi lady. And now let's clear something very, very, very clear. Marriage is not for boys. In very rare cases.
Maturity is not in age though.
It's not, yes. But then there are certain things, just like puberty, for example. There's an age, there's things that you would have to go through as you progress in age. Yeah. Do you understand? I'm not talking about yes, very true. Age of consent. That is the age that you know that you are fully ready for marriage.
What do you think that age is? So if you were to give,
there's really because I've seen putting maturity on age.
Yeah.
But I'm also saying that there are certain things that will dawn on you as you progress in age. Do you understand? So I feel that Hakimi was still being dictated to by his mother. Do you understand? It is possible.
But why do we all feel
To your clothes in your mother's name? Come on. It's like I said, it is the best. It's trust. It's one issue that if you want to go look at it, really, it's a trust issue. All right. She understands better than him. That's the truth about it. And then let's establish this as well. A woman of 20 years is not the same mate as a boy of 25 and 30 to date. So looking at them, you would know that a girl of 30 is not same as a boy of 30. A boy of 30 is looking for a girl younger than 30 in most cases. But a girl of 30 is looking at a guy that is about 40, 35. Even if you wanted to buy certain things in your mother's name, which is not bad, let's not put that out. You can buy things in your mother's name. Do you understand? Make decisions as a man in your home. That's where the issue is. So that's
where the issue is.
Yes, that's where the issue is.
Okay, so with reaction that he gave, and I'd just like to bring that up. Something that struck me the most is that he said it's not a problem for you to defend or guard your asset. Nobody should have a problem with the fact that ground rule Hakimi attempted was suicidal. Yes, there was suicidal as a result of divorce. So I just want Dr. Samuelson to break that down a little bit. When you say that it's okay for us to guard our assets, what does that mean holistically? And if that with us?
Thank you very much. In the article you referred to, I spoke about protecting your asset, which is what I did. His mother was like his financial advisor and manager. And I personally don't see anything wrong with it. Even though if you talk in the context of marriage, I mean, when you get married, some things should change. Definitely, in that kind of arrangement, the mom would have definitely been overstepping her bounds, and I agree with that. But like I said, you need to protect your assets. You know, I did a little study, and I discovered that some of the things that bring some years thereabout of their life, they spend playing, and after that, I mean, they are left to their own devices. So if you've not taken time to protect your money, save your money before retirement, you see, they can take them out of the play suddenly, out of playing suddenly. And so some of them who are wise find a system playing in the US. The man saves more than 80% of what he makes. Of course, that is, I don't know how he does it, but it's his personal arrangement, so that when he stops playing, he has something to fall back on. If you read this, I mean, professionals like bankers and lawyers.
We do hope that network is not going to do
that too, so they can in different around the world.
At that, okay, I think he still has some thoughts, but network is getting in our way. Can you hear us clearly, sir?
Trusted his mother. His mother probably was the one that was with him for most of his life, and so he trusted her to take care of his money. Have to change. Like I was saying earlier, I just remembered I did a research and I discovered that the divorce rate in places like Spain and Morocco, generally in Europe, is quite very high.
Yes.
For example, 85.5% in Spain. In a place like France, it's 55.5%. So you can see that, I mean, some of these people may already have thought that if I marry a woman, she may who are professional divorcees.
Professional divorcees.
4 or 5 marriages.
Yeah. So you know, that's why I say it's not easy to take a particular stand on this Hakimi. You have to judge all those things. Now I don't blame his wife, Abu Iba, that much. I mean, Hakimi was accused of infidelity.
Yes.
And that's what she decided to do. So I don't know. Another thing I'm wondering is that she didn't know of the arrangement that her husband's mother had all the money before.
Exactly. What was the grounds upon which this marriage was contracted in the first place?
Trust is still the problem I talked about.
Yeah.
It's still the problem I talked about because somebody was not truthful. No conversation.
No conversation.
There was no conversation.
In that regards, yeah.
So because you can't marry somebody for close to 3 years and not know that not married.
That issue
and
came up.
Are you saying it is money that is the problem? It's not money. It's not money. There's really no issue. They just go there because they have the intent that at the end of the day they will get your wealth. That's all. Because Love is blind, yes, but 12 years, 19. Come on, come on, come on.
When you're married
It's
at
not
that
the
age, that
other
love is
way.
not blind.
Come on, come on.
That love can
Come on.
actually see. Next of kin.
Yes, she is my next of kin.
I like the way you balance to answer. We're also going to attempt to deal with the narratives and opinion that have been spilling out of this Hakimi's conversation. So there's a big question, family member, and should not be your next of. Oh yeah, we have the tweet. Let's make it available. I'm seeing Daniel look at me with the point. She's not your next of kin, Abi. She's not your family.
Not
something
your family,
like
you
that.
sleep with your family.
You get.
I saw that.
So there's a lot of. I'm sure they'll bring up those tweets in a moment because even the tweets had the response. You say your wife is not your family, but she gave birth to your children. Your mother is your only family, but she's the wife to your father and the mother to your siblings. What exactly?
No, I did not. I did not, and he did not have to tell me because personally, he's my next of kin. I trust him, making me his next of kin and stuff.
If you were Hakimi's wife, what would your reaction have been?
Strange as that sounds, I wouldn't have asked for anything.
Okay.
Because I have my money. I have my money. This is somebody I loved at some point. I would have changed the narrative. I don't want to be in the marriage again. His wife. Yeah.
Okay. So now part of the conversation we are having is navigating divorce waters, because it's like people get, like you said, when you get married, you loved yourself at some point before whatever happens in that whole story. So I have the permission of Daniel Sampson to share. He's been married before and divorced, but now, he's on the verge of remarrying. So tell us a little bit. Being married, most of those other Western nations is somewhere there in their divorce clauses that the women can cut away with as much as that. That's why they have made a trade out of it. Or else, if it's in Nigeria but nobody's giving you that,
sit down one place.
What was that experience like for you?
Okay, first thing is, divorce is not romantic.
Doesn't even sound like.
Can I say that again?
Please say it again. We need to ring it.
It's out of fun. I don't know what's fun about it because it has a way it takes you back. Now, if you're not such a strong person to discuss this divorce issue, because we all are human beings and then we have mistakes we make.
Yeah.
Some of those mistakes we made were available to us at some point.
Then, how old were you when you got married?
I was 30. I was 29, 30. I'm 41 now. It wasn't really about maturity. All right. The issue I found out about marriage, or people who intend or who aspire to be married.
Aspiration.
Yes.
Yourself, please break that down a little bit.
Your values. What are those things that would, that mold you? Those things that you cannot bend to. Do you understand? Because it will affect who comes to you. It's just the fact that, okay, I dated a lady for a while. Do you understand? And then I realized that I love to read. All right. I'm all come from this religious background where if you have worked with this person for a very long time, you must marry the person.
Hello, let's break the table. That table.
A relationship that lasted for about 7 to 9 years. So when I said, okay, I was going to get married, all right, it came as though, okay, this is the person you've been with.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And that, again, people should get to understand that marriage is not for the public.
It's not.
Marriage is between one and please, your pastor will not be in that marriage with you.
You and you alone.
Yes. Yeah. So the divorce match up your values as a person, because those are things you should look out for. Not he's tall, he has money, he doesn't have money, he has cars, he doesn't. Values. Again, find yourself. Find it, because when you find who the lady is, I'm sorry, we're not going the same way. It's as simple as that. So these are, I think this was just the simplest mistake I made. Do you understand? And then God help Nigeria.
There's so much more that we are going to talk about, and because a question I'd like to ask is, tell us one or two things you did precisely to help that we have found in the relationship market. When we return from this break, we'll have the rest of the conversation. To stay with us.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa It's shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Nigeria. Several conversations have been ongoing here and a lot of wisdom dropping like germs. I'd like for you to follow us across all the social media platforms. Are we looking at this evening? That's what we now call relationship hakimism. Don't be hakimized percent of all the end. Just to realize that uncle has nothing in his name. So that is what we now call hakimism. Have you been hakimized, or are you planning to hakimize? For about small minutes that we have, let me talk to Dr. Samuelson, who joined us virtually from Plateau State, Jos. Some other things that he enumerated here as, part of his response to the whole Hakim story. You talked about the failure values. What exactly does that mean? How does that contribute to the fact that, we have two grown adults seeking for a divorce?
One of the saddest statements I heard out of this Hakimi story is that your wife is not your family.
Yes, sir.
Or if you look at the definition of a family, it is a man and a woman who have come into a marriage by reason of a covenant that they have made. And for some of us that are church people, those covenants you've got, you're a husband and a wife, and then of course you're going to have children if you want to. So that is the definition of a family. So for saying that your wife is not marriage is, or what a family is. So there's so much degradation of family values that has brought about some of these statements. You see people vehemently defending and making those statements on social media as if it was truth. No matter how many times you say a lie, it doesn't make it true, right?
Yeah.
So without a shadow of a doubt, whether you believe it, the husband and wife not to trust each other or break down families, it still doesn't make light of the fact that your wife and your husband and you are a family. You understand what I'm saying? I heard a statement from a foremost relationship minister that the laws that make up a family. And he said that the rules that make up, the rules that guide marriages and a family are as ancient as the institution of marriage itself. And so based on them, that was not the original intention in the first place. And so when you try to do those kind of things, you discover that the family will break down. And the family is under attack in our generation, because the family is the foundation of the society. If you have many good people come out of a good family, a man, is raised by a single mother. For example, look at Hakimi. We have not heard about Hakimi's father. What happened to his father? Do you understand? He probably was raised by a single mother. Do you understand what I'm saying? And because of the the divorce rates and everything that I've elucidated earlier.
Let you rest in this moment. You said love is not blind. We are rationalizing the fact that he married between 19 and she was 35 at the time, a 12-year gap. I have my pastor of blessed memory would say, do not marry anyone who has a generational gap over you, like 10 years and above. Blind in the whole prism of this experience in the last week. What does that mean? What do you expect that younger people would do differently not to find themselves in this kind of quagmire?
Well, my dad taught me that love is not blind. He said, actually his statement was that he believes love is blind, but only in one eye. And that was what he taught me. And when I had I grew up, I had my own experiences of, falling in love, falling out of love and relationship and all that. And that's when I learned that actually love is not blind. Because I had to, the lady I married, I didn't let my fitting where I want to go with my life. I mean, like the life coach said, he has, a bitter experience to prove this. But you have to look at it. You have to look at the person and say,
I hope we can just get back. I like that point he was about to dish us with. Nothing changes at the altar. The person you took to the altar is the person you're going to take. For instance, money. Because I know that apart from some other things, money is a key factor that breaks up families. Let's not forget that my husband has. So what's been your greatest experience as a wife managing funds, in your home, or that moment where your husband had and then you're not going asking for all the Louis Vuittons and all of those things in that moment?
Okay, because it hasn't really been a problem because personally, I'm not in as much as I love all the good things, he's taking care of our children and me very well the way he should. It's not a problem to me. So I don't go, give me this, you must give me that. So and he's this kind of person that he knows me very well. He knows I won't ask much, so he gives me the more. So that is how we've built it for the past 13 years and counting. So that is how it's been. I'm not the kind of person that, you must give me this, you must give me that. That's my nature to do, because we've built it over time like that. He knows what to do and he does it.
Not capitalizing on your simplicity. I think that's a great word. So let's just quickly run through certain some tweets so that we can all just collectively. Adi K or something says, the truth remains that your wife is not your family, only your parents and your siblings are. And we had Sheung Babs, yet she gave birth to you. Sir, whoever made you, okay, Mbadike of Enugu needs to collect it back. I know a lot of savage responses also, was going around at this time. So, this other person said, these tweets just show the type of men we have in the streets. So that's something we are going to elaborate on. So we take another tweet. Okay, this is just the tweet that handles the conversation. Give us the next one. Personally, my wife would have access to my properties, but honestly, the way the world is currently, I can't trust anyone, so there would be legal protection over all my identity. Then you have the properties cause me, I need to protect myself. Now this has a clause when you say you live with what emotional stability to be able to succeed at your endeavors. Let nobody play down on that. You're doing a business together. One person is the administrative brain, and a degree, and I've built a business with you. I can't live with boxes and a degree at the end of the day. Okay, let's just take some more tweets. Let's finish this up in one breath. Okay. The set of men and women should just marry. Okay, I like this one. This set of men and women should just marry themselves because we don't like what we hate. My late pastor used to say, let Connie man marry Connie man, so that all of you will Connie yourself in the heart. People need to remember that they didn't get married at gunpoint. Love is not blind. They chose their spouse, so they should act like it. Twitter, you might not find the very important information that you need, on the internet. And that's why I think this brings us back to the place of family. And like Dr. Samuelson said, we cannot, our parents that say, who do you say that young man is? Where does he come from? Who is his father? And then if it's like a mom like mine, she will go to his village, snapping picture everywhere. And these are the problem. Background check is a big part of all of this. So I don't know if you have any response to any of the tweets that we just shared.
Okay, yes. For relationship and even married people as well.
Yeah.
Back then. And I realized that a lot of factors, contribute to divorcing and all of that, to why there are no family ties any longer. Do you understand? It's the fact that at some point there's supposed to be some form of communication. We sit down, we talk about certain things. We don't assume. Do you understand? There are people that, okay, I think I shared somewhere some weeks ago that, do you understand? And that's because the mother and the father did that and she grew up in that house. So a lot of these ladies you see are product of where they're coming from. So if you check out the backgrounds, like you said, you find out that they don't even understand the value of being in a family. Some persons don't understand what it means to live with some other person. This issue where does it come from? Because they are coming from a home. Do you understand? So it affects the family when you now grow up and want to get married. There's this mindset you grow up with. So it affects your nuclear family. Do you understand? And even affects your business relationship as well. So there are a lot of factors to it that can deal truthfully with ourselves and who we are and come to terms with who we are. I'm telling you that the problem is 60% solved.
Oh.
Yes, the problem is six, not take it, because you've shown me it's as simple as that. So you find out that you have people trying to say, okay, let's just see if it will work. Like the doctor said, with a lot of loopholes that you had while you were in a relationship. So if you didn't talk about it, it will just come haunting you, and that was one of the issues I had. Because we're trying to say, okay, don't worry, when we get married, it will be okay and all of that, and it came badly, and it didn't have anything to do with church. It had to do with those in the marriage. So even when my late father said, no, do you understand? So we have to get to the point where we are not marrying for anybody. If you feel you can't do it, please stay single. There's no harm being single.
There's no harm being single.
If you feel you want to, just stay single, because if you're picking up somebody's daughter or son, please drop.
They didn't actually get it right. But in marriage, because they made up their minds to stay in it, they now had to, make some sacrifices. And they are still on. So I think it's not I think it's about the people involved. If the people involved make up their minds to, oh, this must work. If I've seen people that didn't actually get it correct in the first years of their marriage, but they just took a step back, made up their minds that this must work. And it's working. So it depends on the people that cannot just accommodate another. It doesn't matter if they were brought up in tongue talking. It's a problem to them. They can never. It doesn't. I'm not sure the family really has, but I think it has to. It depends.
The individuals involved in the marriage is everything.
The family. Yeah.
Okay, since we are taking, I know Daniel had talked about the fact that church people are giving us wahala in the amount of divorces we have seen. But then what's your standpoint? What would your word be to the single people, especially as we have more and more people?
I'm also the son of a pastor. My dad is a pastor. So I understand exactly where the life coach is talking from. You understand? Talking about being a PK. I mean, I look this right. So, but if I'm going to talk about final thoughts, you see, foundation is everything. Your foundation as an individual is everything. So I would want people to consider, who are you as a person? Do you know yourself? I mean, would you like to marry yourself? If we are looking at yourself, because in marriage, it is one person serving the other person all the days of your life. And so I would just say that before you get married, ensure that you are the right person. You are the person that someone else will want to marry you. You have to build values, build competence, build skills, so that you can even contribute in the marriage. You're not just sit down the look like people will say for their parents. And so it may be a twisted kind of love, because the real agape kind of love, like we say in Christian parlance, is unconditional. But human love is practically a selfish kind of love. So you have to
not just love organically, but love intentionally. Okay, I think that is absolutely where we have to get Instagram and Facebook now. But then I need to say a really big thank you to all our guests who came on the show today. Dr. Samuelson joined us all the way from Jos Plateau State to give us his very wise counsel and an educationist. Dr. Samuelson is a medical practitioner and a pastor. We also have here life coach and talent manager. Very much. But at this point, this is absolutely where we need to draw a curtain on Connect today. We do wish and hope that you had quality, value for the time you invested on watching Spectrum Television and the program this evening. What day? It's bye-bye.